I lost some footage of building the bottom section of this, so it's going to kind of cut in after I'd already built, put the wheels on and everything else. So what I'm going to do is just kind of talk about how I built that and maybe make some rough measurements, just so if anybody's interested in what I did, they can get that information. Like I said before, this wasn't meant to be the nicest thing on the planet. I just needed somewhere to store my stuff. I got a lot of stuff down here, and it's a mess. So I wanted to start by at least, I need to use this in different areas, so I kind of roll it around the basement, and so I figured I'd combine a little storage area with a little cart to roll the welder around with. The bottle obviously is the part that's too heavy to kind of move. So anyways, let me bring you around back here. Like I said, I bought these wheels at Harbor Freight. I think they hold something like 150 pounds or 200 pounds each or something, they said. These are actually casters, so they would swivel, but I tack welded the part that swivels to the mounting bracket on it, so that these two back ones would stay straight. They're actually less expensive than buying the straight ones of the same version, so I just figured I'd do that. So we're looking at like 4 3/4 off the ground. I mean, that's going to be determined by your wheel anyways. And I gave myself about an inch of distance between the floor and the bottom of this. This is a piece of 3/4. So I mounted the 2x4 to the 2x8 at about 2 3/4 inches. So then I built the box. It's 11 inches across and inside to inside here. And depth is about the same, about 11 inches to the inside edge of that. I actually changed my mind while I was building this. I was only going to put the little TIG welder up top, and then down here was just going to be some storage. And while I was building it, I said, hey, why don't I put my plasma cutter on it as well? So that's why you see a little bit of overhang. It still isn't tippy at all. I can put some weight on the front, and it's not going anywhere. So I left it. I didn't want to have to re-drill, remount this whole assembly and everything together. So I just put a longer piece of 3/4 on here. And it holds it up just fine. The width on the cart, outside to outside, on these pieces of 3/4 is just under 22.5. Between the bottom drawer and the top drawer, there's 27 3/4 inches. To the top of the top shelf gives me 35.5 from the ground. So I made the top and bottom shelf the same length. It's 28.5. And in the back I stuck a little chain so the bottle couldn't fall off. And I just put a couple of washers and screwed it into this 2x4. I stuck this on the back on purpose so there was something to screw to. Like I said, the angle was a little bit more than 45 degrees. Because I couldn't cut this on my miter saw. Because that only goes to it was like 46 or something like that. It was just a little bit above what that could cut. We're looking at about 42 inches from the long side to the short side on the two angles. But I mean, what I was aiming for was I kept breaking these back until it would be long enough to fit a 36-inch fill rod there, as well as leaving me room in here to wrap up the cords. All in all, I probably got 40 bucks into this thing, and you know, some time after work and on the weekends when I would have been doing nothing anyway. So, you know, I think it was worth it. And I cleaned up my bench a little bit, cleaned up a couple other areas, and put all the stuff in one spot. And I can roll my welder anywhere I need it. Harbor Freight sells these for like $3.99 something. So I bought 4 of them, and I just threw a couple tacks on each one to keep these ones from rotating. Obviously they would hit that. Just making sure everything fits right. Seems to do pretty well. I left a bit of space on either side so you could kind of have some room to roll the bottle in. I was thinking that maybe I could fit my plasma cutter on there as well, but it is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to try to figure out how long I need to make this so that thing doesn't stick off the end. And I'm hoping I don't have to replace these two I don't know, runners or whatever you want to call them. That might actually work out. This cord kind of sticks out. I'm trying to shorten it up as much as I can. I don't really want it to be that long. And I'd rather not have the cable sticking off the end. If someone walks by and breaks one off, they're kind of expensive to replace. This guy's going to stick out pretty far. That's kind of a pipe dream. It's going to be way long. I'm just going to cut it off here, call it a day. There's a split going through a couple of layers of plywood, so I just went just shy of that, and we'll call that good. That's one nice thing about doing a project like this is it's not super critical to get everything exactly perfect. Maybe if it gets kind of tippy, I might throw a couple of pieces of wood down next to this here. This is all screwed in here, and for this project, I don't really want to mess with it. If I have to, I'll just run, like I said, two pieces up here, and then I'll bolt the wheels right to that. All right, it's not crazy long. It'll still fit. I was hoping it would sit lengthwise just as short as my bench here, because I'm going to put it next to it, but it's going to be a little bit longer. It is what it is. There should be room. I want to stick it. I'm thinking the second shelf will be, or the top shelf will be 30 inches above this, so it should be able to fit the plasma cutter in at about, it's like 16 inches. But I want to put like a little drawer above it, which will hang off the top shelf. And just put all the cups and tips and everything else you need in there. So everything's on there. I want to make some kind of handle for the front and some little hooks that maybe I'll stick on the side back there to wrap up the cords and stuff. I think this will fit here too. So I want to be able to stick the filler rod for once of it. I think this cable isn't in the way. Yeah, it'll fit right there. I want to be able to hold, 4 or 5 different kinds of fill rod or brazing rod in there if I can. Alright, so it's kind of out of happenstance. There's a nice little space here. So I think what I'll do is I'll just cut out a piece of plywood and screw a little, bought a piece of dowel rod today. I think it's 1.25 inches. We'll put it, I might round it off and get, I don't know, not nice, but not square. How's that? I am a little bit worried about this splitting though, so we'll see. I should have built it right into this if I thought of it at that point. Give me enough space not to like gouge your knuckles on the wood, just to get your hand past the handle there. All right, so I'm gonna make this out of wood. So just took a hole saw, screwed the screw through the center of it. I'm gonna use that for a pattern for my router. My washer's not sitting super straight, but let's see if we can tighten down a little bit more. Hopefully it'll be all right. It'll be the center, and I'll throw one. Actually, you know what we'll do? I'll just toss one more in one of these holes out here. That should hold her. So I found a little piece the opposite side of the angle I cut, so that worked out pretty nice. Just kind of chopped it down to the right size, left this side hanging over, and then I cut out that shape to go around here. So the router bit should follow this path, and then kind of give me a little bit of a radius in there to make it a little bit neater. And we're just going to drill some holes and put in the screws. We'll cut it out. Still looks a little gaudy, but it's good. I can live with that. Alright, just screw the template to a new piece of wood. Actually, I'm just going to use this as a piece. That should put our center point for the dowel. So just pop the screw out and then just go the rest of the way through. Should be able to kind of eyeball this, I'm hoping. Or I can just measure it, but I'm going to do this. Pretty close. And we'll figure out where we're going to put our holes for the side mounts over here. Kind of want to go in at an angle a little bit. Of course, I think I hit one of the screws. Never fails. Alright, so now let's see how crooked this goes. I'm going to put the screw in. Nice. It lined up. I think my radius might have been a little bit overkill, but I think that'll be just fine. Oh yeah. Alright. do. Alright, so next step I want to do is put the drawer in here. So what I'm going to do is measure the distance between here and here, and hopefully I'll be able to fit the drawer slide up on the on the top edge of the drawer on the inside of these two rails here. So about 27 inches deep, and it looks like we're right at 14 inches wide. Hopefully it stays about the same. Yep. Now I was gonna make some of my own drawer slides, but Home Depot had full extension drawer slides for 15 bucks, so definitely wasn't worth the time to do that. They're 22 inches, and I'm assuming they extend to that same number. They have like a soft close version and then these as well, so they extend to 21 and a half. So I'm not sure what we have for free play in there, but it probably isn't a whole lot. I think they said on average you got about a 32nd of an inch to be off for your the width of your drawer. Otherwise it'll pull or push on these. So these look like they're about a 1/16 shy of a half inch. Nope. They're like a half inch on the money. They're about 2/1000ths over. A little under down here, so I guess we're looking at a half inch. So that would put my drawer at 13 inches, and then we'll just go a 32nd in to give a little leeway on either one. So the next thing I got to figure out is how high I want this drawer, the bottom of the drawer, off of the top of this. So that's about 12 inches. So if we go to 7, that'll give me enough room to put a bunch of stuff in that drawer, and then still have quite a few, and still have 5 inches above the top of this bar here. So I can slide the thing in and out easily without having it get stuck. The next step is getting a rough estimate on how far down the side of the drawer we're going to mount this piece. I'm just going to go to the side of this 2x4. I'm not going to do anything special. Like I said, this is not something that's going to be super perfect. I just want somewhere to put my stuff. And if it falls apart or breaks, I'll make another one. So center line to the little mounting holes right there. So from the top, essentially you could just measure this actually. So we're going to go down from the top edge of here to the center line of that slot. We're at about 7/8. So we're going to set our drawer down 1/8 inch below that to give ourselves some wiggle room for mistakes, because I'm sure this is perfect. And then I'm just going to mount this, just going to butt up against the top of that, right? Same thing on both sides. So like I said earlier, I'm shooting for 7 inches from the top edge of the drawer to the bottom edge, so it's going to be 7 1/8 down from here. I'm going to cut the two sides in the front and the back of the drawer right now. I got a bunch of this 1/4 inch material just kind of kicking around, so plywood is pretty decently strong. For a 13 inch span like that, it's definitely strong enough, so we'll use that. Unfortunately, my DeWalt miter saw I have for wood stuff I got borrowed a couple weeks ago, so I don't have that back yet. This metal cutting saw here, this Evolution, it isn't really super accurate. So what I'm probably going to do is just cut it pretty close on this, and then use my crosscut sled to make it pretty close to 90, and then I'll rip everything to the right height. That's 7 inches. We'll see how well this does on wood. So I got a piece of pine here. It's about 9 1/4 wide and 8 feet long. So what I'm going to do is cut 24 1/4, 24 1/4, and then just a little bit over 13 for the two, the front and back. So then I can square everything up on the table saw. want here is a drawer that I think it's a 24. We'll go 24 by, we want to be just shy of 13, so we'll call it 12, and we'll say 31, 30 seconds. Our gap here is going to be 14. This edge of the drawer here, like I said, it's going to be 12, 31, 30 seconds. These are 3/4 thick, right? So I want these guys to the end of here to be 22, 25 inches. So I cut these a little bit long. We'll cut them down to 22.5 with my crosscut sled. That should square it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw a couple of brad nails in to get it assembled. I'm probably gonna cut a little slot around the outside to fit the drawer bottom in there. Then I'm just gonna use some wood screws. I'm just gonna pre-drill it and use some wood screws, and that's that. I'm not gonna go nuts with this. So first thing I'm gonna do is square it up. So we're just gonna run the saw across all these. This should be pretty square. We're off by a little bit, it looks like, on that. It's actually a little better than I was remember it being, so. Okay. I think that'll do. Okay, so I'm gonna rip these to width. I think I said 7 inches. One of these days I'm gonna build a nice outfeed table. But that's after project number 3000 is done here, so. Okay. To account for the slot and then the thickness of that drawer, the drawer bottom, I'm going to add let's say a 1/2 inch just for ha-has. That'll put me at 7.5. So I want to do leave a little bit of, only about a 1/4 inch overhang on this. I don't know if that's too much, but that's what I'm going to do. my word, it is nice to have a nail gun. Oh, that makes that so much easier. Alright, now we're going to throw some screws in it so it won't fall apart. And then we're going to make the bottom. Again, we're just going to pre-drill everything and then throw our screws in. One more truth, see if she splits. Everybody always talks about how everything falls apart if you don't use wood, glue and everything. The downside for glue for me is that you can't get it back apart if something happens. I don't know if that's a super negative way to look at it, but I haven't had anything fall apart on me yet. So. I think I'm gonna call it good. Maybe if I did a piece of furniture or something that was supposed to be nice, I'd rethink that. But for this kind of stuff, again, I said if something happens and it falls apart, I'll just make another one. Not a whole lot of work. I'm gonna go a little inboard. I don't think that's going anywhere. So now I gotta figure out how wide I'm gonna cut this bit. I'm gonna cut that and then screw this all together. Cut this 12, we'll call it 12 3/16. Wish I had some shorter ones, but I think this will do fine. Not quite sure where it's going to come out, but we'll pretend it's here. Oh, perfect. Alrighty. That was super duper easy. I like that. It's the first time I ever did one of these drawer bottoms with the slots in it. That actually comes out pretty nice. I like that. Alright, so hopefully this fits. It would suck if it didn't. I think we are in business here. Again, because I'm aiming for super duper easy, I'm not even going to set these drawer slides in at all. I'm just going to line them with the end of the piece of wood here, and then butt them up against the bottom of this. Then I don't have to measure or mark or do anything, and I know each side is going to come out kind of pretty close to where the other one is. So. And these do come apart, I believe. Yeah, you could pull this. You can pull this section out. A little locking tab in there, and it pulls apart. But I don't really think you need to. Maybe to get the hardware bolted onto the side of the drawer. But I'm gonna put 2 screws in first on that, so it's like kind of lined up, and then I'll pull it out and put the back one in. So I clamped it in there. It's not gonna go anywhere. And I put my screw in. Get my clamp ready. Okay, so I'm just buttoning it up against the top edge of there. I'm going to slide it back. I'm going to set it flush here. I'm gonna throw my clamp on back here since I can reach that. Actually, my other clamp fits in there better. I'm not left-handed, so this doesn't make this easier. Come on, guy. I'm trying to stay out of the view of the camera here best I can. Looks like you can still see. So I had a couple of strips that I had cut for either this project or another one just sitting on the floor. So that works, I don't have to cut those. I'm just going to rest them on the top of the drawer here. So it'll give me approximately a 1/4 inch space between the top of the drawer and the bottom of this shelf here. Alright. Well, that actually kind of worked. Okay, so as far as we can go with that, so now these got these little clips here, so you push down on one and up on the other. I don't know which way is which on this thing, but pull the whole drawer out. I put them in all the slots going this way, so I could up and down was going to be pretty good because of the spacers. There is a little bit of adjustment front to back if it slipped or moved or if it is weird for some reason, but I don't think it's going to matter. So. I would explain that. That would probably help. That's much better. I got space for all the weird stuff I've been waiting to put places for a while. So we got an old kitchen drawer handle. It's got 2 holes there, spaced 3 inches apart, center to center. So I marked halfway on the drawer, did an 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches, and then split the difference halfway down the drawer. So I marked out my my position for my 2 holes. I'm gonna pop those 2 holes in there, and then throw my screws in, and that should be in. Alright, that handle's on. So I guess the next part would be the little holders or shelves or whatever you want to call them running down the sides here for the filler rod. Alright, so the upper one I just made, it's drying over there. We'll hold the top of the piece of PVC. And then this one, I just took the same exact thing and then wood and nailed it to another piece. That's going to sit at the bottom. So this is going to hold up that bottom edge and then stop the fill rod from falling out of the back. Alright, so this piece is pretty close to 45 degrees. It's a little bit more than that, but we could set this, since there's a little bit of, since these holes are a little bit larger than the PVC, I don't have to be exactly perfect with my angle. So I cut a little notch out of this corner of this one. I also made it 3 layers thick, so this had something to sit in. So like when the pipe comes down, it'll, instead of having just a 1/4 inch to sit in, it has a 1/2 inch. So I'm just lining up this face with the top edge of this. Alright, so got my fill rod in here. I'm probably going to do another one for this side. So I think in the future I'm going to get a bunch of different kinds of fill rod and brazing rod, and then also different thicknesses. So this I'll only be able to organize 6 different kinds. But I think next to the bottle I can stick another 6 or 8 on each side, so I'll be able to hold as much as I want. So probably I'll figure I'll put the ones I use most often up front, and then the rest of it can hang out in the back.